is Up for Grabs, a podcast where three unfiltered friends talk about anything and everything. And now, here are your hosts, Tracy, Kim, and Rachel.
Welcome to Up for Grabs. I'm Rachel. I'm here with my friends Kim.
Hello.
And Tracy.
Hi. I was trying to think of a fun way to say hi and nothing came out.
How you doing?
Peachy.
Good. Today on Up for Grabs, I think this is something that we might have to incorporate in as a regular segment, but I think that today on Up for Grabs, we're going to be giving our advice. I guess I'm thinking of it in terms of giving it to young adults or like the younger set of people as they go and experience things for the first time that we've already experienced. But I guess really, I think that I think Tracy especially has some wisdom to give on certain subjects. Kind of like, you know how, did your mom used to always read the Ann Landers column?
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
And like people would have these conundrums and like Anne would just totally solve them. And I don't know why. I think since no one has a newspaper anymore,
I know. Yeah.
That's kind of gone to the wayside. But
So
I think
I'm going to start a Dear Tracy column.
Yes.
And they can just send me, or I can't even figure out my own problems. There is zero chance I'm going to figure out other people's.
But you know what? I think you'll have creative solutions.
I don't know about
to
that,
to their problems.
Well, I think too, and I was thinking about this, we're a week away past Mother's Day, but it kind of coincides with like being a mother.
Yeah.
And our advice, like, you know, kind of along the lines of like motherly advice.
And I think
or just life advice.
I think, yeah. And I think what I've learned mostly is that you just pretty much as an adult make things up as you go along.
Yep.
Like a lot of
you wing it.
Oh, 110%.
So a lot of these topics that we're going to bring up, like these big, huge, you know, life events, you know, what's your take on it? It's usually just, oh, well, you're going to be surprised.
There's been a trend on social media of a post that says basically when you realize this is also your mom's first time
when your mom's
doing all this.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Like she's just a person.
She's just a girl.
And yeah, she's just a girl. And she's just trying to
Yep.
And I'm like, no,
keep her head
Just trying to keep you alive.
Yes. So
well, that ruins everything because you like to think that your
she
mom
has all the answers.
Yes.
The answer playbook.
Well, so we're going to pretend that we have some answers.
Okay, let's go.
So and all of my answers won't be, I don't know.
Yeah.
Which really should be my answer. So let's just tackle we'll just start by just general topics. And we'll just kind of go around the table see what your sage advice is about this. But I wanted to start off with the world of dating. I know nothing about dating. Didn't when I was supposed to, and certainly don't now that I shouldn't be dating because I'm married. But I think, you know, we all have kids older, like at least 18 and up.
Yes.
Mostly in their 20s, that are either currently dating or trying to date or not sure if they want to date.
Yeah.
And I get all those things. The question that I'll pose, and you can tell me really just your advice in general, but the question that I thought of was, how does a person know if someone that they've gone on a couple of dates with or that they might be interested in, how do they know that they're definitely someone that should be pursued? Like, how do they know that it's the right person not to, you know, marry or whatever, but just to go on and continue dating?
Yeah.
How do you know?
How do you know? I don't know how you know.
How do you know?
I guess you have to judge how they are, maybe as their heart. I think you judge their heart. Maybe they don't have the job that you want, or the face, or the haircut, but if their heart is good, then you stick around to see if everything else falls into place.
What are some
I don't know,
examples of things that could reveal their heart? Like if you're on a date, let's say a second date with a guy, what are you looking for that could reveal the heart?
I mean, obviously everyone says how they treat waiters. Mm-hmm. You know, if they're a jerk, or rude or dismissive or disrespectful, no. That's a clear sign of how they're going to treat other people. I think that's a good sign of how your heart is, even though I don't know that that's heart, but you know what I'm saying?
I agree with that. I also agree, I think that, if we're not talking first date and we're talking about, thereafter, I would pay close attention to how they speak about their family.
Yes.
Yes. I
don't think that's
struggle with that.
I don't think that's a make or break, but I think it could be a make or it could be depending on what they say.
Yeah, I have strong opinions about that, about family. Because I've witnessed it through family and watching young adults date and watching who maybe they choose to continue to date. And by no means, you can't help where you're from, and you can't help your background or the circumstances. But I think that as you continue to date somebody and it may turn into a serious, you really need to put that on a checklist of, do I want to inherit someone else's baggage?
Right.
And how that will affect how we raise our children, how we make decisions. Some people, I don't know. I just think that's huge. If I was in the dating world again, that would be knowing what I know now about things, and not to say this is no reflection of my relationship. I'm not saying
right.
If you don't date a fixer-upper. Don't date somebody that you have
this
to
old
fix.
house.
Don't date somebody that has so much family drama and it's affecting them and it's affecting their ability to live their life that you feel like you can save them.
Right.
That is a huge red flag to me.
It's not your job to save them.
It's not. It needs to be, especially when you're first dating somebody, it needs to be easy.
Oh my God, it's so weird.
If it's not easy, then you might want to reconsider.
I said this, that's the only thing I put down. I said it should be easy, especially at first.
Yeah.
Because at first it should. And if it's not easy.
There should not be any drama.
If it's not easy then on the third date, it's only going to get worse.
And back to what we were saying, like when I was trying to think in my head what my first thing, like when you go on to the first couple dates with somebody, and you do this with anybody, you do this with a friend, a family member, and you're having a conversation and you're getting to know each other. If they're controlling the conversation and then they ask you something about yourself, but then they redirect it back to them, and they never fully let you explain, or talk or whatever. I just think that when you talk to somebody that really listens to you and is truly interested in what you're saying and wants to learn about you and wants to, not distracted, not on their phone, I don't know. That's really important.
Yeah.
Especially in the day and age that our kids are dating.
I agree. I tell my kids regularly, and I get a lot of eye rolls from them, but I'm like, you're the prize. And if there's a time that you don't feel like you're the prize, that's a problem in my eyes. Because whoever you're with, even if they're a marvelous person, should be treating you like you're the prize.
Correct.
So if they're saying or doing something that makes you think that you're lucky to be with them,
yeah,
wrong, because you're the prize.
Well, and along those lines, I guess I didn't really know how to put it into words, but I said that, of course you should feel excited, nervous energy to see this person that you like, but not in a worrisome way, like not in a way that you feel sick to your stomach or you feel out of balance. Like you feel like, hey, I wonder, does this person like me as much as I like them? And not knowing. I just found that when it's the right person, all of that goes away because it's really, you're in a friendship. And when I think of especially just my friends, my girlfriends, I never think, there's just always a balance.
Yeah.
It's a balance.
Do you remember back 10, 15, 20 years ago? I don't know. There was that guy he's just not that into you, and he was really aggravating.
Yeah.
I don't remember who the guy was. He was a doucher, and he was aggravating. But it is true. If a guy is into you, you don't have to question it.
That is such good. That is so
true. He's just not that into you. Well, if He would be calling if he wanted to. He
Yep.
would be getting off work if he wanted to. He would be making the efforts. And I say he, it could be she. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
whoever the other person is would be doing those things if they were into you.
And you would be doing the same thing.
Not enough.
You would be making the effort too
Yeah.
if you were into them.
And let me tell you, I have spent back in the day, did I like people that I was certain they were afraid to admit that they liked me? And because I thought, how could they not? And I was like,
playing hard to get.
What is happening? They weren't,
Yep.
or they would have. And that is a hard truth to admit to. But
Well, and also, I mean, I don't know, but I see people talking about like, oh, I met this person. When do I text? Should I text the next day? Does that make me seem too needy? What if I do this? You know, what will they think? And I'm like, that's such a weird game to me. Because if I like someone,
too.
Because can you think of having that conversation with a girlfriend?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I met a girl and we had fun chatting. I shouldn't text her right away. She'll think I'm too like the whole thing. I'm like, when you meet the right person and they are as excited about you as you are them, you don't think about all those weird rules,
Yes.
quote unquote.
yeah,
Agree.
agree.
Okay.
No,
So-
absolutely. It's one of my biggest pet peeves. I mean, obviously you don't want to be stalker and you don't want to be like a love bomber and you don't want to be that, but it's perfectly okay to text after a date. Hey, I really had a great time tonight. Or,
Yes,
you know,
that's not-
there's nothing wrong with that.
It's not
So-
showing weakness or
Yeah.
breaking some sort of rule.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Okay. Does anyone else want to pipe in with any other dating advice? We'll get to marriage later, but dating, I thought that was an easy way to start.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, kids, that's all the answers you need on that. I got a question. I was preparing, as you guys heard about, and my daughter Lillian, who is 22, was in the room and she wanted to chit chat about something. I'm like, listen, I am preparing for the podcast. And she looked at me like I was crazy. Like she really thinks that I don't prepare at all. But anyway, I said, hey, Lil, you know, what do you got questions about? And she's like, well, I have less questions about dating. She's like, I don't really, you know, if that happens, fine. If it doesn't, fine. She's like, but what I would really like to get people's take on, and she said maybe Tracy in particular might be able to speak on it because it is something that you did, Tracy. She said maybe discuss the pros and cons of moving out of state. Like she's thinking now, you know, I'm out of college. You know, should I move? Is now the time to go to a new city and meet new, you know, she's unsure if making a move out of state is a good idea for her.
Wow. Okay. So I'm torn on that answer because I love being around my family and friends. And ultimately, that is what I love the most. That being said, sometimes life takes you in a direction that makes you leave for a while. I loved Maryland. I love living by water. I live in Indiana, so that's upsetting. By the nature of not knowing anyone and not having anyone and my kids being very outgoing, I was able to make a lot of really good friends and they care a lot about me and the kids. So and it was funny, I just mentioned talking to Alex the other day, I said, I loved living in Maryland and if things, you know, I could have lived there, you know, for longer. I don't know how long. But I did like doing new things that I never would have done here, seeing new things that I wouldn't have seen, trying new things because I was forced to. You know, I mean, when you go somewhere different, you just have to do a whole lot of things that you wouldn't ordinarily do. So comfort is awesome, but growth is too.
I like that because I told her, I mean, there was only a 3-year period where I wasn't within a 2-hour radius of my family in Indiana. And I told her, I'm like, when you're young and unattached, it's the time to explore new places. It really is. I'm like, you know, if it's just you that you have to worry about, it's a lot easier to go explore a new place. And I said, and you're young. And when you do get attached or have kids or whatever, you can always come back and be around the family that you want to be around.
Right.
So I encouraged her in the sense that if there is a
You don't
quote
want to be
unquote
with
good
her?
time, I want her to not feel like I'm keeping her here. Because I know,
Yeah.
I'm sure she kind of feels it like, oh my gosh, if I left, my whole family would think that I hate them and I'm trying to get away with him. Well, the news just in. I can travel too. So wherever she goes, I'll find her. And I will insert myself into her life, whatever city she's in.
Yep.
But I wanted to encourage her to, now's the time.
Yeah.
It's the easiest time.
Agreed.
Okay. So Lillian, you need to pack your bags.
Get out by tomorrow.
Well, she did ask, she did say, and what did you do to make it a good experience for you? Were there things that you did in a new place?
Well, we always, again, by the nature of just our behavior, but look for free things to do because so many people don't do, like, we lived right outside Washington, D.C. I took my kids to every single museum, every National Book Fair, like whatever I could find, we were doing. And those people that lived there were like, I've never been to that. I've never gone there. I'm like, the National Zoo is free, right? Why are you not going to the zoo like once a month? It's free. Like to me, I didn't understand. And people just take for granted what's in front of them.
Yeah.
So I would say look for what others are taking for granted, and you might find other people that want to do fun things.
Yeah. So basically leave your house is one of the best
Leave your
ways
house. Yep.
to make the experience
That's
better.
correct.
Okay. Kim, do you have any thoughts on that?
And maybe it's just the way that I have a whole different thought process. When you moved to Maryland, you had your kids in tow and family in tow. I get very frustrated sometimes when I see certain young adults that kind of have to check the box, and this is not Lillian at all. You graduated from college and you've got your big girl job or big boy job, and you got to move to Chicago. You've got to do this. You've got to work for this firm, and you've got to do this, and check. I look at it as life will lead you in a way that is meant to be, for the most part. If the opportunity presents itself that you've got a great job opportunity, you've got some girlfriends or boyfriends that want to move out that way, you're an adventurous soul. I think for the sake of just saying, well, I'm an adult, I have to leave now. If you've got a unit that works for you and you've got comfort and I would encourage my kids to move away if they wanted to, but I would discourage my kids to move away because they feel like they have to check that box. I think that it will happen organically,
right?
If that's the case,
I agree.
Because sometimes I think you could set yourself up for disaster.
Yeah,
and some people run away from certain situations or don't want to be around their family or don't want to be. But I think that I never studied abroad, and that's something that if I could go back and go to college and do, I would want to do.
Correct.
That kind of thing, but it's not permanent either. That kind of thing. I'm just I'm more cautious in that area.
Yeah.
And I've never left my radius either.
Well,
but I don't regret that I haven't either.
No, I told Lil when we did move, and I realized for the first time I was 28 years old and I had never lived more than 2 hours away from home. It did make me appreciate the people at home a lot more. Like I didn't give it any thought because they were accessible to me at all times. Mm-hmm. But especially, with younger kids, I felt like I could have used some help. And they weren't there. And it was a way for me to appreciate what I thought I appreciate, but I don't think I really did.
And there's pros and cons. Yeah,
okay.
Definitely.
Okay, Lil, that's all you get. Let's move on to what's your next? What topic do you want to talk about next, Tracy? I'll let you pick.
Friendship.
Yes.
So what I wrote was, you don't have to tell others what you know. Let someone else be that person, and kind of saying like, sometimes people can't wait to. And I'm a gossiper, so I'm not acting like I'm not. But when people tell you things in confidence, that's different to me than fun gossip. And you don't have to run to your other friends and say, did you know, blah, blah, blah. Someone else will. So to me, say less is what I'm saying.
Your friendship advice is to say less.
To say less. You don't need to be the person. I'm saying to be a good friend, keep Keep it close to you. Be a trustworthy person. That's it.
Well,
So, I have very low standards, you two. That's why you're my friends.
I'm a very trustworthy person when I need to be, but I like to talk.
Well, I just said I like to hear it. There's a difference between stuff that
and I think
you know
that
what I mean.
I'm loose-lipped with people that I trust.
Yeah.
Like and can talk and be gossipy, and it's not the best quality about myself. I mean, I'm just going to put it out there. I think that sometimes I get caught up in that.
Sure.
But I definitely don't just tell the world. I just tell my little circle, and that's really it. So I agree with you, though.
Yeah.
Less is more. I agree with you.
Well, I think one thing that we've talked about before about friendship is, and I believe this, and I didn't believe it at the time when I should have, was it's okay to be friends with someone for a certain period of your life and then have that maybe not continue. Like, not that anything happened. It just kind of fizzles out.
And evolves.
And you go one way and your friend, goes the other, and you don't cross paths and you don't keep up the friendship. I don't think that there's any shame in that.
No,
I
not
think
at all.
that's actually kind of the way it should be.
Isn't there a saying like reason, season? Like you have a friend for a reason or a season.
I thought you were going
or
to start singing or something.
something else. Turn. No,
That is very true, though. And I think that when I remember being very, like, I don't know, like when you go from grade school to high school and you lose some of those grade school friends, and then you go from high school to college and you lose some, and the ones that maybe you really liked and you really felt connected to, that you felt like, well, why am I not friends with them anymore? You kind of blamed yourself.
Yeah, you felt guilty about it.
Yeah, and that you felt like I wasn't a good enough friend. But then you learn as you've evolved through it. Then you're a parent, and then you're friends with the parents' moms,
Right.
and then that kind of goes away a little bit.
Yes.
It's always changing.
And it's okay. Like,
Yeah.
just because you make a friend and it doesn't maintain its intensity throughout your entire lifespan doesn't mean that wasn't a valuable, good
Right.
friendship.
Right.
agreed.
I agree.
All right. I'm glad we can agree
Yes,
on
don't
that.
stress about that.
Lillian also asked this question pertaining to friendship, and I'd like to get your takes on this. She wants to know, now that she's freshly graduated, how to maintain long-distance friendships.
Yeah.
And I said, good luck.
Yeah, good question, because I don't have any.
Well, but today's day and age with social media,
I know, it's
and
much
phones,
easier.
I think it's very easy. It takes such little effort to maintain a friendship. You know what I mean? Like an occasional text. Or
That is so much
like
easier now.
I have one friend, which I just said I don't gossip. I have one friend, I do gossip. I never said I don't.
Oh my
I have
God.
one friend in Maryland that, like, I will see some Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs post on Facebook of someone that I know we both know. And I will text her and say, what's going on?
Yeah.
And I know that I will get a text. I will call you in 10 minutes.
Yes.
And I know that she's
Yeah.
calling
Those
to
are the
tell me
best kind of
everything.
friends. Yeah,
even though I
really.
haven't talked to her in 6 months. She knew what I was talking about because we both think like that. So, things like that.
Well, I think it's easy to send a text, to, follow somebody on social media. But when I think of like maintaining a friendship, I like to think seeing that person in person.
Yeah.
Yeah, make the time, especially, yeah.
So if I was just thinking any long distance friendship, I think the best thing you can do is have just a thing, like one thing every year. That's your thing that you do.
Yep.
That's all, it's always on the calendar. It doesn't matter, if you're single and then you get married, then you have kids. It's just, you have a spot reserved to see that person and reconnect in person as well.
Oh,
Yeah, you have to make the time,
But
definitely.
that's something I didn't do.
no.
And thus, when everyone spread out and then started having kids, I haven't talked to anybody in like 20 years. And now these people, their kids are getting married and I'm going to their kids' weddings. And I'm like, I had to wait 20 years to see you. I'm the worst person in the world. And it's not
Yeah.
that I didn't want to. It's just life happens and it's not at the forefront of my mind. But if it was on my calendar.
Well, and a lot of people talk about how men have these annual events, these golf outings and whatever they are. I don't know.
Yeah,
Annual-
going to
Vegas,
Vegas.
yeah. Whatever. All these
Yeah, well.
annual things that these men plan with their friendships. and women don't tend to do that as much. Nobody told us we couldn't. We just didn't.
Yeah.
You know who would tell us we couldn't?
Who?
Did you guys see that Harrison Butker? He's the kicker for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh, I saw.
And he gave a college commencement address, and he, with a straight face and full throat, told the women in the audience that were graduating from college that the greatest thing that they really are going to do is that they probably really just want to be married and have kids.
Are you? He did not see Barbie.
He said that, and then he went down the whole LGBTQ. He
one of those like really crazy
mega Catholic?
Yes. Okay, but he is like what's that show?
Crazy?
No, the show where they wear the hoods, the girls.
Handmaid's Tale.
Handmaid's Tale. He gave Handmaid's Tale vibes.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, to a room full of women.
What university was it?
Oh, it was a Benedictine or something.
So they probably were like, "Yes, sir."
No,
yes.
I think that they were like,
I think they were like, "What are you saying?"
That's crazy.
And the thing that I won't digress too more on this, but I saw that. So he was saying the best thing, what they're really looking forward to, is being married to a man and having children. And then it comes out, somebody else posted something online that said his mom has like her PhD. Like she's like a super smart person that's like helping to cure cancer. And her son goes and says something like that.
Wow.
Yeah. Happy Mother's Day.
Yeah.
Mrs. Butker.
Oh, well, don't listen to that advice.
Yeah.
My
so
goodness.
Poor advice.
Yeah. So he was there to give, he was there to do what we're supposed to be doing, like giving the youngsters some advice. And it was the most tone deaf.
Yeah.
He needs to listen to our podcast.
Yes, he does.
He'd probably be our first guest.
Probably.
I'm not sure.
We set him straight.
All right.
We'd hang up on him. Okay. All right. Let's move on to just maybe the next thing that might be coming up in someone's life. You never know. But wedding planning. Wedding planning. It can be divisive. It can be stressful. What did you learn when you planned your wedding?
What I learned is that you shouldn't pay $300 for a cake when a box of cake mix costs $1. Like, I think my cake, and I did everything on a budget, and my wedding was still expensive. I just can't believe that I asked my parents to pay like between $300 and $500. I don't remember, for my wedding cake. Like, I cannot believe now, as a grown-ass person, that I had the nerve to say, this is what I want. And they did. Who the hell did I think I was asking for a cake mix cost $1? Why did they not tell me, you've lost your dang mind? We're going to have 200 Long's donuts. Thank you. I would have liked that better. Like, I don't know what I was thinking. So my advice for wedding stuff is don't go into debt for it, and plan it with your personality, not what is trending.
Thank you.
Because there's so much this trending, that trending, whatever. If that's not your vibe, don't do that. Try to be true to yourself and your spouse.
Well, I think one thing that I put is exactly that. I put, if I had to do my wedding planning over again with 26 years hindsight, I would have spent money on the stuff that I thought was important, not what every traditional wedding that I had ever been to spent money on.
Yep.
I mean, you said the cake, I was going to say flowers. I'm like, that wasn't important to me, but I knew that was what people did. Oh. And so I did all the things that I thought every wedding needed to do. If I did it again, I would have some really good food and a live band. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah. I don't need tulle ribbons on the end of the pew.
It is insane. In the past, several years, like seeing cousins get married or nieces and nephews get married, I've seen both ends of the spectrum. I was 23 years old when I got married, and literally I just let my mom do everything, and it was still expensive. And she's a pretty budget friendly.
Yeah.
My flowers, my mother-in-law bought, my in-laws were outrageously expensive.
Yes.
And I have no idea how that even happened. Or I think I was so clueless and didn't realize how, in what you said, your personality, you can do it trendy. Don't go into debt.
Do what makes it important.
And let's be real. We've been to weddings. Nobody remembers your wedding after the weekend's over.
No.
They came for good food, some lively entertainment. They gave you $100 and that's it. It's important. Yeah,
I feel like a lot of brides want to appeal to everyone and make it an unforgettable event for other people other than themselves.
And it's forgettable.
And it's so forgettable.
And now make it Instagram perfect. So you can post all the pictures and
Right.
it makes it look like you had the most bougie wedding that ever did happen. You've got a house to possibly buy. You have a honeymoon maybe you want to go on. You have student loan debt. I don't know.
I mean,
all the things.
right.
Yeah. And that's not to
money-
say that you don't deserve a good wedding if you have bills. You do. But make it good for you, not
Yeah.
what someone else's
Yeah.
example of good is.
Expectation
And
is.
I also would say the actual event itself, like, make sure you enjoy yourself. I think I got so wrapped up in all
Me
the
too.
details. It's not that I forgot I was getting married. I mean, I was there and I do remember it. But I don't think that I really stopped to take a deep breath and enjoy all the people that showed up.
No, I don't. I know I didn't. I didn't fully. And no,
And I regretted
I
that.
was nervous most of the time.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah. And I also put wear comfortable shoes.
yeah.
I wore tennis shoes under my dress.
Yeah.
You know I
See,
did.
you're so good.
Yeah.
I think wear comfy shoes might be my piece of advice, like for each individual thing.
Perfect.
Dating,
Always.
wear comfy shoes.
Yes.
It goes with everything.
Yes.
Okay, so now let's talk about the first year of marriage. So we've just been married. We've dated. We got married, and now we're the first year of marriage, which I think is the least talked about part of being married. Mm-hmm. And it's when a lot of things go down. No pun intended. That didn't come out
Preach.
right. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. First year of marriage, rough.
Rough.
What'd you learn in your first year of marriage, Tracy?
What I learn or what I write down, because they might be
Oh
different.
my God. A little bit of both.
Okay. What I wrote down was try to develop friends and activities together and separately.
Yes.
It needs to be both.
Yes.
You can't just keep your friends and him or her keep their friends and not have things together. So you need to be intentional in your time together and intentional in your time
Wow, that
apart.
is really good advice.
And a lot of people think, oh, I'm married, so now everything I do is going to be including my spouse. Like, I think some people think that that's the way,
Right.
that's what married people do. They if you spend every waking moment with your spouse, that's not good.
Yeah.
Like, not good at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure they're wonderful people, but you need to have a life, like Tracy said, a balance outside of this person.
Right.
Yes. Anything else, Tracy?
That's all I know. Mine didn't last, so I don't. It lasted 20 years.
Hey,
I'm just
you
kidding.
had a good run.
I'm just kidding.
Did. Kim, you got anything?
This day and age, I feel like most young couples live together before they get married. I mean, more so than when my family was very traditional, where
Right.
you
Me
are
too.
not.
Yeah.
Buckle up if you've not lived with your spouse before or your soon-to-be spouse, because that was my rudest awakening, was coexisting with somebody. Even though we spent all our time together when we dated, I don't know, sharing a bed every single night. How he cleaned up a bathroom or put his clothes up or kept his side of the closet or anything. I just think that, I don't know. I was young and Joe was still in school when we got married, and we took care of, he was in a program where we took care of a mentally handicapped man. If I could have added in more stress
say,
and drama
that's
into my first year, first few years of marriage. But yeah, I just think that, and I'm not pushing live together before you get married. I think that's a personal decision. And some people are very traditional and some people are, but I think there's pros and cons to it both. But I just
But
think
it's the same reality. I mean,
but what Tracy said, I think that you have to give each other space. You know, you're married, you're spending, hopefully, you know, you're all your days together, and it is perfectly okay to have a life outside of marriage.
Yes.
And to have your friends, but be intentional about exactly what you said, Tracy. I think that's so important. Just keep it well balanced.
Yeah, the first thing that came to my mind when I thought about the first year of marriage was just how important communicating expectations is.
Yes.
Because up until that point, dating, everything's all fun and games. You're only doing the fun stuff. And then all of a sudden, who's in charge of going to the grocery or doing the laundry or mowing the yard, or,
Yeah.
the day-to-day things.
Yeah, that's, I mean, yeah.
And what I realized was that what I think is normal or what I think everyone does is not what everyone does.
Based on how you grew up.
Yeah. I'm like, I didn't think that was something we had to communicate about, but apparently it is.
Yeah.
I think that's huge. You're blending your values.
Yeah.
Or, and just your little things in the way that you were raised.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's just, it's tough. It is tough. Not that it's not fun, but it's tough.
Yeah. You just got to kind of roll with it. Okay, let's move on to, so we dated, we moved, we've come back, we're married. We're having a baby, you guys.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay.
So think about when you first found out you were pregnant with your first child, and talk about any advice. This is just in the pregnancy stage. Like,
I'm going to say less Dairy Queen.
no, I was going to say more.
Well, then you didn't have as much as I did.
I did.
I had a big baby.
Oh, I gained 80 pounds.
Yeah,
I didn't have a big baby. I just got big.
I didn't do anything but
I did both. Which my big baby's birthday is tomorrow.
Happy birthday,
Okay.
Samantha.
Yeah, slow down on the eating when you start to feel well.
I just think it's so different now.
I know
I
it.
mean, I think people really do pay attention, and everything's monitored, including your intake and weight.
I know,
and
and I'm teasing.
If
no,
they
I
would have
know.
known
I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's a good thing because
how many Heath Bar blizzards I had
they're so delicious.
during pregnancy, that is just wild.
I was a peanut butter parfait
Were you?
person,
All
yeah.
right, well.
But I do enjoy Heath Bar Blizzard as well.
So you're saying watch that.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I have my parenting newborn advice.
Okay, we're going to get there. We
Okay.
haven't had the baby
That's
yet,
it for
Kim.
pregnancy.
I just think educate yourself, not overboard, but read the books. Like, talk to your OB, talk to your mom or family,
Right.
your aunt, your grandma. I just think that's just, pregnancy is, I mean, let's just say you have a normal pregnancy. Pregnancy is kind of a piece of cake. Once you have the baby, all hell breaks loose.
Right,
So,
yeah.
I mean, enjoy the process as much as you can. And I know there are people that have fertility issues. There are people that have horrible pregnancies. They have
Right.
high risk pregnancies. I'm just saying across the board,
And-
just your first pregnancy, it's overwhelming.
It is overwhelming. I also want to say, though, take advice on
Yes.
your health and the health of your baby as far
Yes.
as what you should be eating and doing. And it's easy to say, oh, well, they're just being ridiculous or too much. No, they're not. Start those vitamins right away. You're literally creating
listen-
another person.
Listen to your OB.
You are responsible
Yeah.
for taking care of that person from, the jump. So
Well, Kim, I think it's interesting that you said, and this is just our personalities because I love you so much. You said read every book. And I think one of the things that I did right,
What to expect when you're
expecting, the one thing that I did right for me is that I did not read that book because I cracked it open once, just kind of a trust fall into like, let's just see what might be in here.
You probably freaked
and
out.
I read something that I didn't know about and I got so nervous and upset. I'm like, okay, I didn't need to know this.
Oh,
So I'm better without the information.
and I need to know it all.
I like to say that I really vacillate between ignorance is bliss and knowledge is power, and I don't know which one I prefer.
I know, me neither.
I like ignorance myself, which I think most people that know me know
Yes,
that that's
we
true.
know that.
Yeah,
Yes.
we got you. Nobody's arguing that point.
Damn it. Okay.
I probably lean too much on knowing, and
Yeah.
I should let like some things just be ignorance is bliss.
Yeah.
But I think you're a very good balance. I think that you, I mean, just from the outside, I mean, I don't see you getting yourself maybe you were at a different point in your life where something would really freak you out or really get you in a tizzy. I think your first pregnancy, you kind of are ignorant. Like you have your second one, you're a little more nervous. You're a little more aware. You're a little more, but I think your first one, it is all about just kind of the unknown.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Well, the only thing I put about pregnancy advice was don't compare your pregnancy to other people's.
No.
I will never forget when my mother-in-law told me she never felt better than when she was pregnant. And I remember at the time,
people don't feel anything but bad.
Horrible. Like it was like, maybe I was like 3 months in. So I was just almost getting over the sickness, but I wasn't. But just to hear her say, I never felt more healthy and alive than I was when I was pregnant. I just remember thinking, I'm such a loser. I'm not enjoying any of this. I think this is bad. Yeah, don't compare yourself to anybody else because it's not going to be the same. All right, Tracy, now we're going to get on to it. Your newborn advice. I can't wait to hear it.
Crying is breathing.
It builds those lungs.
That's what I got
That's what
to
my
say.
mom told me all the
Crying
time.
is breathing, and your baby's going to cry, and you don't have to fix it every time. I don't believe in letting them cry it out. I think that's really sad.
But when you say cry it out, how far is out?
I don't know. I think that you
Depends
go
on the
pick
day
them
and the
up
mood.
and you try, and if that doesn't work, you set them down and you walk away for a minute. And if you could still hear them crying in there, then they're breathing. And that gives yourself some grace on that. So that's my advice.
Okay.
Crying is breathing.
I needed to hear that 25 years ago, but
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Kim, what you got?
Knowing
Newborn?
what I know now, you have to take it day by day, minute by minute, sometimes hour by hour. I think when you bring home a baby for the first time, there's nobody can, rely on mothers that are already, that have already done this job before. I relied on my mom so much. I could call her at any time and just ask her, why is he making this noise? And why is he, why is it every time I get him up, his whole entire chest is wet with pee? Well, because I wasn't pushing it down when I was putting the diaper on.
It took me a while.
And I'm like, oh, like...
I thought he was like Houdini. I'm like, how is this happening?
And the biggest piece of advice, and I feel like that this is something that I think about a lot and I reminisce about a lot. It makes me emotional thinking about it. Trying to word it the right way. Savor every single minute of it and hold them when you've got things to do and when you think the house is a mess or when you think you need to cook something, and be with them on the floor and just stare at them and do when I always felt like I was chasing the next thing.
Yes.
That I was being a bad wife, or that or that I wasn't, getting the things done that I needed to get done.
Right.
And, it goes by in the blink of an eye.
It does.
And it's okay to let them cry too. I did let my kids cry it out. I mean, I did. And my mom would always say, oh, builds those lungs and it teaches them self-sufficiency,
right.
And stuff. And it's okay to pick them up if they cry too. So,
well,
but you can't compare pregnancies. You can't compare how you parent you can't.
No. And for me, I found the biggest thing that I would say is, for the new mother, no matter how difficult it is, I mean, it's easier said than done, but truly try to relax just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Because I was so aware that I had no idea what I was doing, that my vibe must have just been a wreck. Like, so when you're holding your baby, they absorb that. Like, they know if you're not relaxed.
Yeah.
I think you'd stress the baby out just as much as you're stressed, so I don't think that, kind of like what Kim was saying, just slow things down a little bit, take a deep breath and just relax.
And ask for help if you need help.
Yeah.
Right.
And talk to somebody if you need help. If you feel like you're drowning.
Right.
And you feel like you're struggling, you're not supposed to know what to do. You're learning every single day. You're just, like we laughed about it before, your number one goal is to keep that child alive.
Yes.
And just every day is a win if you can get through the day without...
Yes.
No, I'm not saying without. I'm just saying without,
Losing your time.
losing your mind,
Well, and one thing that I was ashamed about and no one had ever said this. And when I first had Sam, I didn't know what I was doing, but I didn't realize that I wouldn't feel an instant connection with him. Like, I thought that's just what happened. Like, you had the baby and it's your baby and it was just instant. Like, you'd be in sync. compatible. Like, since he was inside me this whole time, he's going to be with
That's
me.
not how it works.
And it was a rude awakening that I thought, I'm not connecting with this kid. He's just wild and he's crying and I don't know what to do. And he doesn't seem happy, and I thought, well, no one told me that, that wasn't necessarily something that automatically happened, that it's something that kind of grows as you figure out what the heck you're doing.
Yeah.
Right. So that was my sad story.
Thanks.
The only other parenting advice, let's just get like general parenting advice, not about a newborn, but just parenting in general. I like to say that I only did one thing right, and it was that we had a bedtime routine, and that
yes,
there was no kid that ever slept in my bed ever.
Oh no,
Well,
did.
I failed on that end.
I did too.
But
No, I would
was
go
all
into
routine.
I would
oriented.
go into their room, like if they didn't feel, but no kid ever slept in my bed. I'm like, at the end of the day, I needed my space just as much as they needed their. But if they didn't feel well or whatever, I'd go and I'd lay down with them in their room.
Yeah, we had the old mattress pulled in our room many a times.
Mine was that my kids had a 7:30 bedtime up until about third grade.
Oh, my kids had a bedtime
And-
too.
7:30.
Yes.
And nap schedule.
But you know what? They
everything.
slept. They
Yep.
slept. And I knew that I could get through the day, that no matter what, by 7:30, I was going to get some time to breathe and think. So I thought, you can do anything till 7:30.
Bedtimes
so then I
and
would
nap routine.
make it through the days. Yeah.
It will save you.
Yes, it's good for the kid. It's good
Do
for
not
you.
think that you can just. I mean, they don't deal well not being rested.
And in Indiana, when it gets dark at 10 p.m. during
I
the
know.
summer,
I know.
and you're putting your kids down at 7:30,
The blackout
my kids
shades.
used to laugh about another girl who lived down the street jumping rope at like 9 o'clock at night. And Sam said she would look at her window. She'd get up and go look out her window at this Emma girl jumping rope at 9 p.m. down the sidewalk because it was still
Yeah.
daylight.
And she thought, what a wild girl that is.
They're
And
so
then I was
lucky.
horrible, probably.
No.
Yeah.
No, you're lucky when you keep your kids on a routine. That's my advice.
Yes. So I'm all about the bedtime routine. That I feel like Rob and I did a very good job, and that kept our sanity and theirs.
Yep.
Any other parenting general advice?
No, not for that. No.
No parenting. One thing that I put, and I don't know if I always do it, but I'm conscious of it, is when the kids were littler, and even now, because Lillian makes fun of me because I do it with her, always kind of light up when your kid enters a room.
Yeah.
Like Lillian's like, Mom, I'm 22, and you make such a big deal when I come in. I'm like, I can't help it. Like, I don't even know I do it.
Exactly.
But just that's
Yeah.
what kids feel.
Validate them.
I mean, no matter what's going on during the day, you're always happy to see them.
I know. Isn't that the greatest? I mean, you can really be ready to kill them at certain points in
Yes.
their lives.
Yes.
But there's not a time that I don't see my kids or hear their voices when you have,
Yeah.
like, and you're like,
Oh my gosh.
you love them no matter what.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Yep.
And I guess to me, it was news that didn't happen. Like,
That's
there are
sad.
kids that
I
grew
know.
up with, not getting the hero's reception every time they enter the room. And I thought that was kind of sad.
Yes, I agree.
Okay. So is there any other miscellaneous advice maybe that doesn't fall within these specific categories? Or
I still have more.
Okay, let's hear it.
Okay. Anxiety. It can take over. At some point, you have to relinquish control that you don't have anyway. And that's a hard lesson to learn. But people are really anxiety is just trying to hold on to this control over things that you never had control of.
Correct.
And the sooner you can
amen.
learn that, the better.
Amen.
And I still go back and forth, but I am better. There are some things that I have just released into the universe and said, I'm trusting that things will work out. And if they don't, I couldn't have controlled it anyway.
Yeah, that's a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
It is very, very hard to do. Being okay with the unknown.
Yeah.
And did you have like any advice on how to manage the anxiety or depression?
Nope.
Or okay.
No, just that you have to.
And I think I'm a big proponent of therapy.
Talk it out.
Talk it out.
Yeah.
Talk it out. Yeah.
Okay.
Being
Because-
anxious never fixed it. Not
No.
one problem.
My mom's big thing to me was you cannot worry away something bad happening. You cannot worry away a problem. You cannot worry away a diagnosis. You can't
Right.
worry away anything. You have to relinquish control. And I think we're programmed to not do that. You want to control everything. And I've been personally working very, very hard at that. And when you learn that you can, like you said, relinquish it and let it be okay, it's such a
It is.
freeing feeling.
It is.
It gives you, it just, it lightens your load a lot.
Nice.
Yeah. I got more.
Okay.
Okay. When I'm gone, it's okay to miss me, but don't stay there, and don't let it consume you. Because then that's for my kids. Because I don't want them to be, so devastated at my loss, at the loss of me, that they let it consume them. And so I'm like, it's okay to miss me, but please don't stay there. So I just think that's an important lesson that people have to learn, that everything that lives dies, and everything you love then is going to die.
Right.
And I know people that, in theory, almost die with someone when they die because they just quit living their own life. And I would never want that for my children.
No, that would be sad.
No, yeah.
Anything else?
Yep. Okay, next one. I got a few more.
Okay.
As far as drinking goes, once you hit 23, no more drinking until you get sick. You should not be drinking until you get sick. Like,
It's not cute
16
anymore.
to 22, I'm giving some grace, even though drinking age is not until 21. I'm giving some grace as far as learning and knowing limits and boundaries and whatever. If you're still doing it at 23, you need to reevaluate. You should know better at that point.
It might be a problem.
I'm not even saying it's a problem. I'm saying you're just not very good at it. My body does not metabolize alcohol that well. If I have more than 2 drinks, I usually feel nauseous, sometimes bed spins. I'm not good at that anymore. I was for a while when I was younger. I could do it, and I could throw up and rally and go back out, whatever.
Gone.
I shouldn't, that never should have been a thing.
No.
So,
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, okay. Okay. Quit spending your money on junk and junk food. By nature of existence, you are worthy now, not whenever XYZ happens.
Yes.
Don't lie to impress people. What you say or do is enough for the right person, job, or situation, and to be kind. I'm done.
That's good. You had good stuff today. I'm proud of you. She even brought paper.
No, that
she
is
wrote
good.
things down.
The biggest thing too, I mean, it's such a simple phrase and people say it all the time. Just be kind. Oh my God. That is such a powerful thing. If people were just nice to one another, regardless of their beliefs, regardless of their views, regardless how they parented, how they did, oh my gosh, it goes a long way.
It's just how you treat people.
It is.
Ultimately,
It's how you treat people.
is really the most important thing. I have one quick story and then we'll wrap it up. I was going in the Y the other day. It was a Sunday and the Y has like a church in there on the Sunday
do.
or something.
They have-
so I
yeah.
always feel weird walking in like workout clothes when other people are walking in their Sunday best. But anyway, there was a man in front of me that was going in, and they have men that like men or women that hold the door, kind of greeters for church. Well, this man in front of me, the guy holding the door saw him coming, leaves the door. Oh my gosh, I haven't seen you in such a long time. Gives this guy this big hug. And he's like, I'm so happy to see you. How's your son? Like, just truly like, I'm like, all right, well, this, good for this guy. So I go and put my stuff in the locker, and this guy rounds the corner, and a different person, a lady, sees him and said, oh my gosh, you're here. We haven't seen you in so long. I mean, like, legitimately happy.
To see
Are you going to
over.
say it was Jesus?
Yeah. Was it the Lord?
and that's where I saw Jesus. No,
Okay, go on. I'm sorry.
no, but like this lady was like for real, like the most genuine, happy to see somebody that I've seen, and I saw it twice. So I'm passing this guy. I'm like, I don't know what you're doing.
I just want to, get some of your
I said,
juju.
I did. I said, I don't know what you're doing, but I've never seen someone greeted so enthusiastically. I'm like, I want to be more like you. And he just kind of looked at me like, oh my gosh, who's this old lady talking to me? But really, like, to have people react to you that way.
Oh,
what's he doing?
That's just a good human being.
Yeah.
He's probably one of those people that's just a magnet to people.
It's Jesus.
You know,
It was Jesus.
But you want to strive to be that person.
Yes, I was like, I was so
people
impressed.
that genuinely reach out and want to be around you and love being in your presence.
Yes. So that's
Goals.
that's the goal for everyone out there. That's our advice. Go make someone as happy as that man made those two people at the YMCA. It was amazing. Okay, so thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you got some advice that you can use. If we didn't cover a topic that you absolutely need an answer to, we are here. Tracy's here, and like I said, she's taking all problems. So bring them on, and we will catch up with you next time. Thanks.